Like I was saying, I'm so excited that I might be the one that's traveled the furthest to be here today. I'm from Chicago in the US. Is anyone from further here? And like I said, I'm excited to come here because I'm excited to speak to you about big data and how it's impacting the hospitality landscape today. First, some background on myself. I'm here representing Adara, which is the world's largest travel data co-op. For those of you that haven't worked with us before, we receive real-time data from the world's leading brands. Think Marriott, Wyndham, Lufthansa, Etihad, etc. All of these brands send us their data in real time about who is searching for and booking travel, and we are then able to use that to run programmatic marketing, analytics, and business intelligence. As for myself, I'm really a big data geek at heart. I actually come from the healthcare industry. I used to help hospitals optimize their performance to meet patient needs. And then over the past year, I've been traveling the globe, meeting with independent hotels, small chains, and large chains to see how we can help use big data to empower their businesses. So the issue I see in the market right now that I'd really like to help you all with is to alleviate something I'm seeing that I've termed big data burnout. And what I mean by this is big data, it's been around for a while now. The term really bursted onto the market in the early 2000s with promises that analytics and machine learning of large data sets were going to revolutionize your business. And I'm sure you listened to many conference presentations like this one where they made those promises and then nothing came through because it was perhaps a little bit premature. And because of that, it's lost a lot of its meaning. And also, I know a lot of kind of marketing teams in that absence have taken the term and co-opted it to help with any product they're trying to make look more attractive. I know in researching for this presentation, I found a new offering out there that is a smart wristband that helps you tap in and out of your room. A cool product, yes, but is that the promise of big data? Is that what it means to you to be able to check in and out of your room more easily? I don't think so. So what I'd really like to do here today is to give you an easier model by which you can evaluate the big data proposals that are before you to determine their merit, and then use that model to look at where we are in the data industry today, and then give you some starting points for better leveraging big data at your hotels. So first, more simply, how do we define big data and what constitutes it? I like to use a model that is called the V's of big data, and apologies in advance if the V's are not as such in Turkish. The three V's of big data are volume, variety, and velocity. Volume is the big of big data. When we talk about algorithms looking to improve your hotel's performance, they need hundreds of thousands, if not millions of data points to truly optimize. So traditional data sources like your hotel's email list might not be robust enough on their own. Variety is the number of different types of data points that you're using these algorithms to analyze. You want to be doing something that your analysts can't do on their own. So pulling in data points like not just your guest check-in, check-out dates, but maybe their performance at other brands, looking at why they travel, what types of travel they do. These are the types of data points that really empower big data to work for your hotels. So these are the original three V's of big data, and these work across all industries. But for hospitality specifically, I really like to emphasize a fourth, newer V, which is value. And this is really cutting away the marketing buzz and looking, what can this data actually do for your hotel? And perhaps more critically, how do you measure that value? There are a lot of products out there that offer personalization and customization, but how are you actually tracking what that's doing for you? And this is critical for hotels, particularly in the independent end, as I know many of you are pressed for budgets, especially when saying, I have 5,000 euros that I'm looking to put into big data. Why would I not be better served putting that into meta search or to traditional direct mail? All of these things are critical in building a model that helps you really analyze a big data solution. So now that we know what the marketplace looks like, when I've had this talk with other hotels, one refrain they'll commonly come to me with is, should I even be competing in this market? There's a Marriott down the street, there's a Wyndham, there's all these large brands that have way more data than I'll ever have access to. Is this just a loss for me that I should accept and invest into other areas? Well, let me try to reframe that a little bit for you. So So let's take a simplified look at what the hotel bid data landscape looks like today. If you're a single property, you might see only a couple data points for a traveler. Them visiting your website, them searching for rooms, and then booking that room. And then if we scale up all the way, a massive hotel chain, 5,000 properties, what do they see for the same traveler? They see all the same data points, plus also maybe their loyalty status, their historical information, as well as searching between properties at a specific location. More data, yes. But what do we think that traveler's booking journey actually looked like? The average digital traveler in 2019 will have over 30 digital touch points across their hotel booking journey. They're bouncing between platforms, OTAs, metas, brand.coms. They're going to social media, TripAdvisor, et cetera, where one brand is only seeing a very small part of us, which leads to the conclusion that all single vertical suppliers in this marketplace have an inherently limited scope of data available to them, which leads to a siloed landscape where brands might have a lot of data in it of themselves, but when we look to the model and see how do we use variety, how do we pull in all of that extra information to empower our hotels, there's not a lot of that available, which, while it sounds problematic, is actually beneficial to you if you're in a small chain or an independent hotel, because you have to look to do the same things the large brands are doing since they're not doing it on their own themselves. So, given this landscape, given that there's room to compete, how should you start leveraging bid data? What are the best places to enter? Well, I always encourage clients to start by looking at marketing, and digital marketing specifically, as the easiest way to begin leveraging bid data. The reason I say this is because it is going to have the lowest cost point of entry for you. Whereas you think with other channels what it costs to get access to hundreds of thousands of data points, even with a standard digital marketing campaign, you can gain access to hundreds of thousands of travelers for only a few hundred euros. It is a very cost-effective point of entry for getting into that market. So then, how do you do this? I emphasize looking for strategic partners that can help you enter the bid data landscape. And by this, I mean partners that are going to give you access to things that you don't have as an independent hotel. My message here is not to go out and hire your own team of data scientists to do this for you. Look to find companies that have already done much of the heavy lifting. For instance, companies with technology stacks that can really benefit you in terms of infrastructure, but probably more critically, and what needs more evaluation, is what data sets these companies have access to. When you're with your independent hotel, again, with that limited scope, by partnering with companies that pull in data from other brands, from historical traveler information, and other intelligence, while you still maintain your same data set, you can supercharge whatever data you have by overlaying it with this other information to improve performance. And the considerations when looking at these partners, again, cutting through all the marketing fluff, make sure you look critically at what is the actual quality of the data along their model. There are brands out there that might emphasize having 5 billion data points available or number of travelers to target using their algorithms, which sounds very impressive, but where is their data coming from? With these partners, are they gathering e-commerce data? You don't necessarily care whether a traveler has bought a t-shirt in the past month, which sounds funny, but this is a lot of the solutions you will see out there in the market. Look for brands that have data specifically that is relevant to your hotel's interests and that can power your marketing solutions, as well as pricing structure. Again, for the smaller properties in the room, I know a lot of these solutions can be expensive at first, but what we're seeing in the market is increasingly downward pressure, which is why it's a good time to come in. Brands know that your properties might not have thousands of dollars available upfront to run marketing campaigns, so there's increasingly a shift to an ROI or commission-based model, where you can leverage those budgets you might already have available to drive your solutions. So, let's look to apply the model we've just gone through in evaluating some bid data solutions that have been marketed as bid data, and I've either been pitched these or I've seen them marketed to some of my clients, and see whether we think they're bid data or not. So a company comes to you and they say they can do A/B testing of your email list to optimize conversion by showing 2 different offers and seeing which one receives the most response. Do we think bid data or not bid data? Anyone? I would really argue not bid data. For the primary reason, if you think of your email list, you're running into the innate constraints of volume and variety. You do not have a large enough email list for almost anyone in this room, I would warrant, as well as you're not adding a lot of variety to the data set. This can be something that is very powerful for your hotel, yes, but you should not be paying a bid data price for it. Also, let's say dynamic website offers based on that guest on-site browsing behavior. Bid data? It can be if they're overlaying with external guest behaviors, but if they're just using what they see from your website, your brand.com likely does not have enough traffic to truly justify that. And finally, another example. Let's say someone says they can personalize the deals offered in your email marketing campaigns by overlaying with travel information they've received from other brands of 100 million users. Bid data? Likely so. Of the three, this is going to be the one that most likely leverages bid data, though you do need to call into account the value and how you're tracking that conversion. So let's look at this from the ground up. What does this actually look like when you take a product and apply this model to it? Just as an example, I'm using one of our products called Guest Finder, but there are a number of great, really exciting examples in the market today. So with Guest Finder, it's an advertising solution for small chain and independent hotels all around driving direct bookings. And we use travel intent data from partners to serve ads to these clients. Volume, we're targeting over 800 million travelers all around the world. So there's a significant database there. With variety, we do a blend of hotel information based on what type of hotel that is and who is visiting naturally. If we're marketing the Raffles Hotel here, very beautiful upscale hotel, we're not going to serve those ads to travelers that stay at motels or low budget places. So we blend that with our historic traveler information to make sure you're pulling in truly the most high value travelers. On the velocity fronts, we can target ads as little as 2 seconds after a traveler has completed an action. So let's say myself, I flew from Chicago to Istanbul to speak here today. If that was on a partner airline of ours, if I then went to check my email to find out more information, there could already be an ad there waiting for me advertising relevant hotels. And then finally, value. Looking to emphasize, what is this really worth to me? What is the ROI? This product is run on a commission basis so that you're leveraging existing distribution budgets to try a new avenue rather than risking new budget up front, trying to make it very palatable here. So this is just one example. There are a lot of great products out there today in this space. I've seen a lot across the major social giants, as well as a lot of the traditional marketing agencies you might work with are really looking to integrate bid data with strategic partners to power campaigns. So where do we go from here? Bid data truly is an ocean. In 15, 20 minutes, I cannot cover everything that encompasses everything in bid data. What I hope I've done here today is plant a little bit of a seed to, one, alleviate that burnout. Use the V's, evaluate the solutions that are being pitched to you at conferences, in your inbox, in your voicemail. See whether that truly passes the merit of bid data. And then use these jumping off points, because now is the best time to get into bid data as an independent hotel. The technology has never been cheaper, and it's never been more powerful at driving direct bookings to your property. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jock. Before you leave, you have one question.
Oh, yes.
You have still time. The question is, how will you deal with new EU privacy regulation coming up this year? Actually, it's been already in place, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So as a company that really exists at the intersection of data, GDPR is something we have had to deal with extensively, not just for our own data protection, but making sure that partners we work with have strong data contracts and affirmative consent in place. That being said, what we found is that with the appropriate counsel and the appropriate structuring, the GDPR regulations might not be as scary as you think. We still receive data from over 200 travel partners, many of whom are in the EU, hundreds of millions of searches a year. And as long as you handle the consent appropriately, bid data and data sharing is not going anywhere. It has made people a little bit more timid. We've had to take a step back, but as long as you're working with partners that are well-versed in the data handling process, it's nothing that should stop you from embarking on any new ventures. All right. Thank you all.